Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and the vlog. Okay, I guess it's focused. Yeah, I haven't been doing as many vlog-like videos as I would like to in the past couple weeks just because I've been forgetting my camera. But I figured I could use this time to do like an FAQ type of thing where I answer a lot of the questions I get primarily from middle and high school students interested in marine biology fields. A lot of like in high school, I had no idea this career existed, so it's not expected that you guys also know everything about it in middle and high school. So just like a quick like FAQ thing. First, a quick background on myself. I'm Janelle and I am a grad student in technically fishery science, but I definitely have a marine fisheries focus and I do a lot of research in the tropics. That's what my graduate student work is based, where my graduate student work is based. And ideally, after I finish all stages of grad school, I would work in either academia or government, doing similar things, still doing research, doing science, etc., in different places around the world. That's like a super brief overview of what I do. If you're interested in learning more, I have so many TikToks on it. I'll put them here if you're curious. So how did I end up in that situation? A lot of people have been asking on how I got involved in marine biology, so I'll do a quick background for everybody new to my page. I studied marine and environmental science in undergrad at Hampton University. Once I graduated there, I went to grad school at Oregon State University and worked on this really cool project, working with Nassau grouper, this awesome fish right here, my favorite fish, and trying to figure out the impacts of climate change on early life history stages of that species. I'm wrapping up that grad work now and in the process of figuring out on whether or not I'm going to continue into research or go into more of like marine policy work. The cool thing about marine science is that grad school is really like a full-time job. To be honest, you can be on a fellowship or a research assistantship and get paid full-time to do it, and you can make that your work. If you aren't interested in doing that, you can always apply for a real job, and there are jobs in so many different avenues. There's actual field work, research, lab work, policy work, conservation work, so many different types of positions in the field. But in addition to this question, I've gotten many other different types of questions. My goal is to answer like 1 to 2 questions a day to hopefully get some of you guys into the field, help you guys get to know me better personally and as a scientist as well. And so I get a lot of questions basically on what did I major in college, or what should I major in college, or yeah, where should I go to school, those types of things. I made a video on picking a major. I will place that here. Do I major in? While picking a major like marine biology, marine science, something like that is great, realistically not every school offers that as a major. I was super fortunate where we had like a marine science option, but in my lab now I work with students that have never majored in anything marine bio related whatsoever. Obviously, having a really good STEM background is important. If you have a background in any science, math, I think you are good. If you're interested in pursuing grad school and specializing more in like the marine biology world. So honestly, I would recommend majoring in anything sciencey that you can. Definitely take like statistics, math, biology courses just to build your background. Look for research opportunities. And when you're close to finishing, start looking into grad school opportunities that are a little bit closer to what you are interested in. Yeah, from that, like I hope you realize you don't need to go to school that only has like marine biology as an offer. It's definitely not required. And honestly, sometimes people often do better when they have a more broad background at the start and then later specialize. Realistically, if you're interested in becoming a scientist, you will have to go to grad school. If you're not interested in doing the science side of things, if you're more into communications, or if you just like being a research tech or diving, etc., those jobs exist. I can't speak on them. I can't speak on them as heavily because it's not what I do. It's not my process, but those jobs do exist and not all of them require grad school. However, if you're interested in being like an actual marine scientist, marine biologist, realistically, any type of science you go into, you're gonna have to go to grad school. And grad school is the time when you start to specialize, and that is the process I'm in right now. Like I've Went from undergrad studying, I studied marine and environmental science at my university, and I went to Hampton University for undergrad. And then kind of figured out what I did and didn't like during that process. And then by the time I got to grad school, I kind of already knew what I did like and what I wanted to do and add to the scientific world and how I wanted to contribute. And so that is how I kind of like started to actually specialize. And I am still kind of broad. Like I could still specialize even more than what I'm doing right now, which is what I would ideally do for my PhD. Right now I'm working on my master's. Yeah. So picking a major, like I said, don't read too much into it. If you can only study biology, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I know a lot of people that have only studied biology and are still doing ocean science, marine science type of things. You don't necessarily need to study specifically marine biology to become a marine biologist in undergrad. Picking a school. So, yes, it would be great if you could go to a school on the coast and with a marine bio program, etc. Getting all that experience in like nice warm weather and everything. However, not that's not feasible for everyone. Like it wasn't feasible for a lot of people that I've gone to school with. You know, people grew up in the middle of the country where the water was not necessarily accessible to them. In the long run, I know it sounds really great to have like these really fancy schools on your resume and everything, but in reality, the school you go to doesn't necessarily matter. It's more so the people you know and the people you have networked with. So I would go to a school that you feel like you would be extremely comfortable at, that you would have great connections with both peers and professionals. That is like super green flag things you should be looking for in the schools you would want to attend. I attended Hampton University and I did not attend because I wanted to be a marine scientist. I attended because it's an HBCU and I wanted to learn more about HBCU culture and be involved in that. That was why I picked the school. The program had nothing to do with it at all. Like none of the programs had anything to do with it. So like don't stress too much about the school you applied to because realistically the experience you can get experience at your university, but the experience that's really going to matter is what you do during summer internships or different like internship positions you take throughout your undergraduate career. Me just doing research at my university was great to just like, you know, gain some experience, learn different things, but by itself, it did nothing to get me to where I am today. That research, in addition to other things I've done during summer internships, conferences I've traveled to, networking opportunities I received, is what led me to where I am today. So I wouldn't stress too much on like, oh, I can't be a marine biologist because I went to this school. Literally, you could do it no matter what school you went to. You just need to be applying for different research opportunities, which can be found on like the REU website, research experience for undergrads, pathways-to-science.org. There's so many different platforms now and like job boards and different like things you can look at to find research experience to kind of like build your career and build your skills. So I wouldn't stress too much on like what school you go to because I went to a school that like yes you're on the coast but research opportunities were not like that high. A lot of my experience came from summer internships and different, you know, little programs that I did in undergrad. Okay, that was a long rant and I think my camera's about to die, but we're gonna keep recording until you know it's too late. Another question I get asked a lot about just like field jobs. Like everyone just wants to be in the ocean. They don't want to work in a lab. They don't want to do any coding or any little science things. So if that's the case, you know, I wouldn't necessarily recommend being a marine biologist or a marine scientist because that's what that job is. Jobs that are like highly focused in the ocean, like I said, they exist, you know, dive masters, commercial divers. There's a lot of different like dive positions that you could do. Scientific divers, those are all positions that exist. There are pros and cons to doing those types of jobs on the long term, where like when you're older, I'm not sure if you're still going to want to you're still going to want to be doing such like an active, you know, position of field work all the time or essentially diving all the time when you're, you know, older, having kids, starting families and stuff like that. But that's a personal preference. That what I would want to do could be completely different than what you would want to do. I just can't really tell you like the process of getting into them or getting involved with them and doing them long term that well successfully, because it's not what I want to do. It's not my interest, but they do exist. So I don't know, look into that if that's what you're interested in. What specific classes would you recommend taking in high school? I'm sorry, I'm looking at my phone. What specific classes would you recommend on taking in high school if you wanted to become a marine biologist? I have a video on this too, but science, basically any science class your school offers, I would take advantage of. If your school offers like a marine biology course or like a, you know, ecology course, those would be really cool to take too. But getting the basics in now is critical for, you know, doing better in college and grad school. I think like I was already interested in science. Like I loved science and I just didn't know what to do with that in high school. So I was already taking like a lot of like biology, chemistry, physics classes. I took a bunch of different math classes in high school, and I came in to study biology actually, and it really helped me with starting out like that. But then I changed my major to marine and environmental science, not really realizing that a lot of the biology classes I was already taking were literally exactly what I needed for marine environmental science anyways. Like I still had to take, you know, general bio, general chemistry, I took organic chemistry, I took physics, I took calculus, like all of those classes still had to apply to the marine environmental science world that I was in. Now, depending your school and your program, you may have different requirements, but a lot of the classes tend to repeat. Like for sure you're going to take like a oceanography class, and generally oceanography classes are like chemical oceanography, physical oceanography. And as a prereq, you're probably going to need to take like a chemistry course or a physics course. Math, you're going to need stats. You're going to probably have to take calculus in undergrad. Stats is the big one though. You're definitely going to need to know stats, and potentially even some coding courses if those are available. I would take advantage of those. But those are things that are going to be like required in college. Just to prep for that in high school, I would just take whatever like science and math classes your school offers, just to, you know, build your background, gain that experience. And when you have to do it in college, it'll feel a lot less intimidating at that time. Because I took classes in high school that made certain classes in college feel not that bad. Like chemistry, I took AP chemistry in high school, and it made intro, or I forget, like the first like two chems I had to take in college feel like a breeze. Whereas like I never took stats in high school, and when I took stats in college, it felt very overwhelming. So it's nice to like have like a little bit of a, you know, background in it to make things feel a lot smoother in college. Let's see, what else do I get asked a lot? Yeah, most people don't get marine bio, it's just working in a lab. It's not always working in a lab. It really depends on your project. Yes, some people do work in a lab. Others may do a lot of modeling work, and it's more computer work where you're actually not in a lab. You're wherever your computer is. You could it could be at home office. It could be on a plane if you can work on a plane. Like wherever your computer is, that's what you're doing, which is kind of nice. Because like when I'm in the field, you know, I can still do like a lot of the modeling work I need to do. Is there any job that does some field work and gets paid a lot? Yeah, I do some field work, and I think that people, I mean, people get paid pretty decently once they're like set in their careers. I'm still in grad school, but like my boss or PI, principal investigator, he's in his full career and gets paid a lot of a lot more than I do. Gets paid really well, and he definitely does field work. But on top of that, he also does other things like science and managing students, etc. I don't know how much people get paid if they are dive instructors, or you know, they only do like one job, so, or like a job just in the ocean. That's because I don't do that, so I don't have the answer for that. Let's see, what else could I answer quickly? Is it a must you learn to code to become a marine biologist? Ooh, coding is becoming increasingly popular across all scientific fields, so I would take advantage if you're interested in any type of science. Yeah, it'll make life a lot easier if you know how to code. It's not limiting if you don't know how to do it, but it helps if you do. Are calculators allowed? So the type of math you do. Okay, well, hey, my camera died, so we're recording on my phone now. But Are calculators allowed? I'm sorry, I was cropped out. Anyway, calculators, it's not the type of it's not the type of math where you need like an actual calculator. A lot of it's done on your computer. A lot of it's done through coding work. Yeah, I can show videos of me literally working at my computer if that's what you're curious what it's like. You're not necessarily doing like mental math, 5 + 5, 2 + 2 type of thing. You're more so doing like, I need to run this type of test, statistical analyses, and with this data, type in some code, let it compute it out. You still need to understand the concepts, like take your math classes to understand why certain tests are used for certain things, why you need certain equations for other things, and that helps you build your knowledge on knowing what to do when you're given certain sets of data, when you have certain, samples that you need to work with. But yeah, don't need a calculator is not strong enough. You need a computer to probably do most of the math that you will need in life. Okay, I think I'm gonna wrap this up because I don't feel like charging my camera right now. And I also don't want to kill the memory on my phone. But let me know how you guys feel about this. I will try to do like FAQ videos probably like once a month and hopefully get back into weekly vlogs sometime in the next week or two. And then I think I'm gonna do, so this one was predominantly for middle and high school students. The next one I'll do will be more on just like higher up, like college level, on what to expect in college, what happens graduating, applying for grad school. And I could do another one even later down the line on what it's like in grad school and when people are looking for jobs, that type of thing. But yeah, I hope this helps, and I'll see you guys next week or 2 weeks. We'll see. Hopefully, I'm trying to do them every week, so hopefully next week.